Samsung outed this phone here without much fanfare or even a proper announcement, and if you look at the specs, it might be easier to understand why. This is Daniel from Phone Arena presenting the Galaxy Grand Neo. The phone has weaker points not only compared to the newer Grand 2, but even to last year's Galaxy Grand. The handset sports a 5-inch screen with very low pixel density, but the rest of the specs are decent, as the Grand Neo offers you 21 megabits per second connectivity, 5 megapixel rear camera with LED flash, and a quad-core processor. However, the original Galaxy Grand still sells worldwide and actually offers high-resolution camera and video recording, which raises some eyebrows, so let's see what Samsung is hoping for with the Grand Neo. The handset spreads in quite the serious dimensions and weighs almost 6 ounces, so it's neither compact nor light in comparison with other 5-inchers out there. The rounded corners and the physical home key scream Samsung, but the back is made of matte white plastic instead of the company's usual glossy finish. The matte surface is actually nicer to the touch, less slippery, and doesn't attract fingerprints. Grand Neo sports an easily removable back cover, which grants you access to the mini SIM and memory card slots, as well as to the swappable 2100 mAh battery. The side keys blend well with the chrome rim imitation around the phone and are easy to feel and press without looking, providing good tactile feedback. The same goes for Samsung's traditional physical home key underneath the display. Grand Neo comes equipped with a 5-inch panel, but that's where the fun stops. This basic LCD screen has 480 by 800 pixels of resolution, resulting in 186 pixels per inch count. That's worthy of an eye roll. As a consequence, most everything appears jagged and pixelated, which can be rather annoying not only if you're a screen purist, but simply if you have toyed with today's mid-rangers, most of which come with at least 220 ppi. Still, for watching videos and occasionally for browsing, a big screen often trumps pixel density. If these are your main purposes, the Neo might be a fine budget choice, as there are no glaring issues with the display's color representation or the viewing angles. Its peak brightness and surface reflectance are also decent enough for usage outdoors, unless you're standing in direct sunlight. The Galaxy Grand Neo is loaded with Samsung's TouchWiz Nature UX on top of Android 4.2 Jelly Bean. Samsung's mom on if and when will KitKat hit the phone. With Nature UX, however, the most apparent visual differences that KitKat brings, like a transparent status bar and a full-screen wallpaper, are already present in the overlay, and the Grand Neo is no exception. We're also getting most staple features of Samsung's homemade interface overlay, like Smart Stay, which keeps the screen on while we're looking at it, and the multi-window mode that can split the display in two and run 2 different apps at once. The AirView and Air Gesture modes that are present on Samsung's more upscale handsets are nowhere to be seen here. Typing on this largish display with one hand can get dicey when you have to reach for the upper left or right corner of the keyboard, so we'd advise you to enable this swipe typing mode. As with most of its big screen phones, Samsung also includes a way to scooch the keyboard dialer or calculator to the left or the right, so that you can type with one hand without the risk of dropping your handset. The Grand Neo comes with a 1.2 GHz Broadcom processor with 4 Cortex-A7 cores, while last year's Grand came with a dual-core Cortex-A9 of the same frequency. That's one of the few differences between the two phones, and it is not translating into any benchmark or performance superiority for the Neo. Samsung outs the phone with 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of storage, of which 5 GB are user available, and these are expandable via microSD card slot. Samsung's TouchWiz browser looks a bit dated with its squarish interface elements here, especially on a 186 ppi screen. It is, however, proven to be one of the fastest renderers, plus at Android Jelly Bean it still supports Adobe Flash out of the box. The Galaxy Grand Neo supports European and Asian GSM frequencies with up to 21 megabits per second download speeds, and is also available in a dual SIM version. Like its predecessor, it has plenty of connectivity radios too, such as Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi Direct, Bluetooth 4.0, assisted GPS, DONA, and FM radio. The gallery offers split screen view with a thin strip that lists your folders here on the left and their content on the right, which aids navigation around it. There are plenty of editing options built right into the interface too. We also get a stock video player that runs most popular formats like MKV and XVD without a hitch, and up to 1080p resolution at that. DivX licensing, however, is not present on the phone as usual recently, but you can always grab a better player from Google's App Store. The music player with its squarish UI elements is familiar from many Samsung phones. The interface might be unimpressive, but it offers all the basics, like song categorization, as well as an abundance of equalizer presets. The loudspeaker is pretty average, both in terms of strength and in sound output quality. The 5-megapixel camera on the back of the Grand Neo has an LED flash next to it, and there is also a front-facing shooter for video chat. Samsung offers a few shooting modes like Best Shot or Panorama arranged in this typical carousel mode, but more processor-intensive regimes like Rich Tone, HDR are absent from the Neo. The 5-megapixel photos feature the amount of detail that can be expected from this kind of resolution. Color representation is largely accurate, as is the overall scene exposure. The amount of noise, however, is quite a lot, even on a bright sunny day, while indoor it creeps up even further. Low light photos come out a tad soft and noisy, but if you hold the handset steady, they won't blur. Unlike last year's Galaxy Grand, the Grand Neo doesn't capture 1080p Full HD video footage, but rather makes do only with 720p HD resolution at 30 frames per second. The footage fulfills the promised frame rate, but comes out a tad soft and lacking detail. Galaxy Grand Neo seems a bit of an odd bird, giving in on specs when compared to last year's Galaxy Grand, yet let alone to the newer Grand 2. The only advantage it holds before the Grand, for instance, is the quad-core versus dual-core processor, if that can even be called an advantage. Its specs are pretty basic, and the pixel density is so low that in order to appeal to big screen lovers, the Galaxy Grand Neo has to muster up an enticing price. However, the suggested retail tag is a bit under $300 or euros, and that's where it clashes with more capable handsets for the price. For the same tag you can get the 5-inch Alcatel One Touch Idol X, for example, which flaunts a 1080p display and 13-megapixel camera in a much slimmer, lighter package. The LG L9 II also deserves your attention, as it goes for less than the Grand Neo and offers a 4.7-inch display and 1080p video recording in a very compact chassis. If you don't mind a smaller 4.5-inch screen, you can save $100 and give the Moto G a chance, as it sports higher pixel density and is already on Android KitKat. This was a video review of the Samsung Galaxy Grand Neo from Phone Arena. For more information about this and other handsets, you can visit us at phonearena.com. Thanks for watching.